Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Harmony Stitches. Thank you so much for taking some time out to stop and visit me today. Thank you to everyone who has so far subscribed and come back, commented, liked. I so appreciate all of the feedback. If this is your first time visiting, I hope that you find something that inspires you or encourages you to get back into your crafting or to try something new. Here we mostly talk about cross stitch, but I also knit and I crochet, which as I've said in previous videos, it's actually kind of funny that crochet was my main go-to craft, but now it's kind of, I'm in a season where it's taking a back burner. I know that it will come back eventually, especially since I have one project on the hook, so to speak, right now, but I've been avoiding it for a while. This week I have just 3 projects to talk to you about, the 3 whips that I've been focusing on. I did get all of the knitted dishcloths finished and off to their rightful owners, so that's a big relief. And actually, I just feel relieved that I got that done for them and in a timely manner and got them off to them. And now it does give me a little bit more time to stitch. I was feeling a little overwhelmed there for a bit, and I think all of you probably have felt that in some kind of way once before. So the first project, we'll just get right into it, is one of the reasons why I've felt stressed, and it is my secret stitch. If you're new here, I am stitching this for my husband for Father's Day, and it is Bigfoot Bunch by Plum Street Samplers. If I understood the story correctly, this was released as an exclusive for Linens and Threads in Australia for a year, and then it just got widely released a little bit ago here in the US. As you can see, most of the chart is actually leaves and then those little tiny flowers. So I did have some struggles with this when I first started. I got a little bit done on the right side of the project and I had to tear it out and start over, but I have conquered that and I have almost all the leaves finished. So I have a little bit here left on the tip of that leaf. I have to do the outline because they are outlined in a darker color. And then this little leaf right here needs its outline and I am done. I am mostly using called for threads. I'm kind of using half and half. The color of the leaves on the inside is Pea Pod by Classic Colorworks. That is called for. These flowers here is in persimmon, which is called for. But then the border is the called for color is black coffee. I did not use that. I did have some coal from Weeks Dyeworks left over, so I used that instead because I figured that would be fine. My husband will not know any different. Here is the pea pod. I'm almost out, so thank goodness. Look, I'm almost out. So thank goodness I am almost finished with this project. Here's the persimmon. This has got some really cool coloring. It's kind of like a corally peach color and it goes really light into really dark and it's really nice. You can see the variation in these. You probably can't tell on camera. Let me see if I can get you really close. Oh yeah, see that? And I stitched the way I stitch these is like I stitched the top one and then went down into the bottom one. Then I cut my thread. Then I stitched the left one and went into the right one, or whatever direction that is. You know, it's backwards for me. So I tried to get that variation plus not have big carries along the back. So this would be perfect for a flower or something that was much larger, so that way you could get that color variation. Maybe a pumpkin, even though it might be a little bit on the corally side. Okay, so those little tiny flowers that are scattered all over is DMC 355. I did find this in some of my DMC hauls from Joann's a couple of times ago when they were on sale. I bought a whole bunch, got it all put away except for like this one floss away bag full. I had no idea. I couldn't remember what project it went to. I don't think I bought this for this particular project. Maybe. I have no idea. But I probably only will use 2 to 3 strands. So even if I didn't buy it for this and it's meant to go somewhere else, it'll be in my stash waiting. Hickory Sticks is the nice brown. And this is used for the outline of the Bigfoot family. But I'm also going to substitute this in for the center of those little flowers all over the place, I think, because it calls for DMC 822, which I do not think is going to show up on that fabric. So my daughter and I talked about it, and we think that it will be okay if I substitute this. This actually, the pattern calls for the black coffee to be in the center of the persimmon colored flowers, but I think I'm just going to use this. Just use it for all of them and call it a day. Like I said, my husband isn't going to know any different whatsoever. The outline of all of the leaves is supposed to be classic Colorworks pine needles. In a previous, I think my previous video to this one, I talked about why I changed it to 3011. So if you're curious about that, that would be a good video to go watch. It's either the one previous to this one or 2 videos back. So my daughter and my husband are actually going up north on a daddy-daughter trip. They do that often. A couple years ago, they went to Whitefish Point. So if you're in Michigan, you might be familiar with that. It's on the very north shore of Lake Superior. And actually, when they were there last time and they were on the shore with their feet in the water, they were actually picking up the cell service from Canada. So that was pretty crazy. So it's way up there. So I should be able to get some good progress on this. I just have to go pick up the rest of the floss that I need for the Bigfoot. So like I said, it's kind of a cross between me substituting some stash colors and what's called for. Some of the colors are actually not available right now, so I'm just making do. And my husband won't know any different. And you know what? It's going to be just as beautiful as it was if I was using the called for colors. So, all right, the next up project is the Alice in Wonderland Sal, which is Stitch Along by Owl Forest Embroidery from Russia. So that's why I put that little note in the description box that it is a Russian website. So if you go to do it, it's completely free unless you want their linen and their threads. Because it's going to look a lot different. Their website is all in Russian, but you can figure it out. It's a free download. Part 3 was just released on Friday, and I did my best after getting those dishcloths done to get caught up. I still have a little bit of the red on part 1, which it's not hurting anything to not have it done just yet, but I did get a little bit more done, and I'm almost done with part 2. The reason why I'm not done with part 2 is because the flowers in the pots on the bottom part, and I'll show you in a second, are supposed to be stitched white. If you know Alice in Wonderland, you know that the cards were painting the roses red. So some of them are supposed to be red and some of them are supposed to be white. My fabric is a little light. It's a little on the light side, and I was struggling. It calls for 712, didn't work. So then I put in 3865, which was my plan, didn't work. Then I put in white by DMC, blanc, and it was okay. But then part 3 came out, and part 3 is the white rabbit. And I'm like, well, if it's not going to work on the flowers, is it going to work on the white rabbit? Then I saw that the designer put out a note that said that a lot of people are using fabric that has a lighter hue than called for. And if you're struggling with your white, to go with B5200, which is the brightest white that DMC has. And I'm kicking myself because I actually was telling myself when I was stitching in the white, the blanc, when I was stitching that flower, that no, you should be using B5200. So I ripped it out. And my fabric was a little stressed on that side. The holes were kind of large, so I'm letting that side sit, and I moved to the other flower pot. I don't have very much done on there, but I'll show you the whole. So this is what I have done so far of the entire project. I'm sorry, it's hard for me to see what you're seeing. Oh, here we go. I just have to stand up. So on the very top on the left side, you'll see some green, and that is a little bit of a border in part 3. The rest of it is border in part 2. The flower pot with the roses, those are part 2, and I got the red ones done. And as you can see, I have 3 red hearts here, and I do have some little flower buds on the trellis. And then we go down below those in the flower pots with the white roses. And on the left-hand side, you can actually see that I started to stitch with the B5200. And you know what? On camera, it's actually showing up pretty decently. So I think I'm going to stick with that. They did recommend that if it's not showing up, particularly on the white rabbit, that you can back stitch with some light gray and it will help it look more vintagey and it'll stand out. And then the suits, those are from part 2, and the orange border is from part 2. And like I said in my last video, it is not symmetrical. That border is correct according to the pattern. And I was debating on whether or not to make it symmetrical or to leave it as charted, and I decided, as you can see, to leave it as charted. So I don't know what their plan is. It's a mystery stitch along, so I figured it may be like that for a reason. I'm thinking that there might be something maybe in those spots. And again, per me, my usual, I forgot to tell you what I'm stitching it on. The Bigfoot bunch is stitched on 28 count Monaco. It's either ivory, antique white, or off-white, or something like that. I have a online retailer that I from Facebook that I buy them in yardages, and I just have her send me whatever she has because I love Monaco so much, and they all came in one shipment. I don't know what color they are. They look so close, they could almost be the same. One's kind of got a buttery yellow cream color to kind of base to it, and the other one's a little bit more white, but they're so close. The Alice in Wonderland Sal is stitched on, it was 18 count white Aida when I started. After I coffee tea dyed it, it was counting out more like 19. So I should have plenty enough floss according to the pattern. Okay, zip this up. Okay, so the last thing is my year focus, my new year, new start for this year. I am leading a stitch along in the Michigan cross stitch group. So if you are in Michigan and you're a cross stitcher and you're not in that group and you want to be, shoot me or comment below and we'll chat, and I'll see about getting you a link to get in there. I do have to apologize that on Thursday I had to move the frame and I couldn't wait for you. And I'm sorry. But here's why. My arms are pretty short. I'm only 4'11", and I have short arms and legs. And reaching from I'm right-handed, reaching from my right side of my body up to the top of the frame on the left side was hurting my shoulder. I said, wow, my shoulder hurts. And my daughter had said and made a comment. And then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the stitching on this project. So even though I technically didn't get the entire page done that I was working on up there, I had to move the frame because it was hurting my shoulder so bad, and I couldn't wait for you. I moved it Thursday night, I believe, in preparation for Friday stitching, because I got my Thursday stitching done on it, and then I needed to do my Friday. So Friday, Saturday, and I got 5 strands done today. I still have 3 to go, is in this one spot I'm going to show you. I did take some photos. I will enter them here if I can do so. And then that way you can see what I had accomplished. I do believe that by the end of the month, I will have equivalent of over 2 pages. I did get page 16 finished. Sorry, I had to think, like, where was that? Because I started at 20 and went backwards, so 16. I got 16 done, and then I was working across the top of 11, 12, 13? Yeah, 11 to 13. So I got as much as I could of 13 done, as much as I could of 14 done at the top. So those 2 pages are almost 50% done, and then I was working on 11. And that was the one that I couldn't get done all the way because, you know, that half of it, because my shoulder was hurting. So now I'm working on page 15, and this is where I am at 15. And by the time okay, so let's see. I did the border on the outside all the way from way down here all the way up here. So I started there. And then everything underneath these square flowers was already done all the way across. So I've done everything up here in 3 days, and I still have 3 strands to go. This here is all page 11. So I'm doing pretty well, like getting progress on this page done as well. I was about halfway with it already before I came back to the spot. This diagonal actually keeps going up to the side, and it's got a couple of things. And then there's a triangle here that has some deer or dogs or something in it. And then that's the end of the page. There is a big bird here at the top of that's standing on this. So I was looking at it, and I'm about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way done with page 11. And then I'm going to continue on. I think that I can finish page 11 this month and then start working on that's not page 11. I'm sorry. That is page 15. So when I finish page 15, it will be complete, and I'll have 6 full pages done. And then I will move over onto page 14, which is about 50% finished as well. Page 12 to 15, when I started that, when I moved the frame, we're halfway done. So I should be able to get 15 done and then start working on 14. And then next month in June, I should be able to finish all those pages all the way across to page 11 and finish those. What I'll have to do when I get to page 11, because that was the one that I was experiencing some pain, I might actually have to put it on my 11 by 11 frame instead of my big frame that my husband made me, and just stitch that area, like fold all my fabric up, use my clips, and stitch that area, and then put it back on the frame and go to page 10. And then page 10 will be completely new at this point. I don't have any of it done. So if I can get through all of those pages by the end of June, then I will be 50% done by 50% of the year. And here's my plan. Because I know when I go back to work full time, right now it's scheduled to be full time in the office, which means I have an hour to an hour and 15 minutes commute every day, Monday through Friday. I'm going back July 6th, full time. So I'm losing commute time on stitching. I'm going to be tired. In the evenings, I'm going to be tired. If it's nice outside, we're going to be outside. So what I'm going to do is that when I get done, if I get caught up on my Alice in Wonderland Sal, then I will put extra strands into Pandemic by Long Dogs. This is by Long Dog Sampler. So that way I can get a little bit done. But then also I know that I have fall projects that are sitting there waiting for me to start. They're all kitted up. They're on my wheel that I had to suspend, but I really don't know what else to do. I really, really want Pandemic done by the end of the year. And I know that if I continue to get the 8 strands in per day, then I should be able to get there. But there's a lot of back stitching. So if I get my 8 strands done per day and I'm caught up with my Alice in Wonderland, I might put extra strands in to either work ahead for the next day or just get ahead in general. And then I should be able to free up some time to do some new starts, because I know that we all would love for me to be able to get back to that new wheel, or that new start wheel and the whip wheel. But as soon as I get this project, the secret stitch on for my husband, then that will be off the table, and that will free up a space for me to be able to work on a third project again. So also, if you're a knitter, I have this to talk about. You see, I thought I wasn't really going to have much to talk to you about, but I told myself I wanted to talk to you about this. There is a YouTube channel here called The Crazy Sock Lady, and by her name you could tell that she is crazy about knitting socks. She knits socks. She's got multiple pairs of socks on her knitting needles at all times, and she pretty much enjoys all of the ways that you can knit socks. 2 circulars, flexi flips, DPNs, magic loop, you name it, she's tried it, and she likes almost all of them. There is one that she's not too keen on, and you can see that in her video if you want to hop on over to her channel. I'll put a link below. Last year she did a summer sock camp where you join her Ravelry group on Ravelry, and then you could choose what cabin you wanted to be in, and it was based on what kind of needles you use to knit your socks. And she's doing it again this year. It starts June 1st and it goes into July 31st or halfway through August. I can't remember exactly, but all the details are in the Ravelry group. And there's lots of prizes involved. She has so many generous donors giving prizes for summer sock camp. I think I want to participate in that, and I just have to choose my yarn. Okay, so if I participate in this, I have to choose my yarn for my socks. I won't have enough time to work on 2 pairs of socks, but I can do one. So I want your help, whether you have commented on these videos before or not. I would really love for you to chime in and vote on which colorway you would like to see knit up into socks for summer sock camp. You know what? I actually have 3. Just one second. Let me grab the other one. Sorry about that. 2 of them are pretty similar, and then one is obviously super crazy. This is the one that we talked about before if you've been here. This has 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. I have heard of people using yarn with cashmere for socks. They just don't necessarily use them while they're in shoes or anything. But it also has nylon. Kay, the crazy sock lady, said that she feels if you wear slippers with your socks while you're in the house, it actually helps the wear and tear on your socks. That's her opinion. I don't know if that's true or not. It would be something worth investigating. So this one is Dream in Color yarn, and it's kind of purpley. I don't know. I think that might be dark teal, dark teal, and then some speckle down on this with some gray and white. So this is the first one. This is the one that has cashmere in it. This is the one that's similar. This is called by Supernova Dyeworks, but I believe that she changed her name. She's in Lansing, Michigan, so she's really close to me. 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, so this would also be great for socks. And see how it's similar, except for this one has the green, like it's green and purple, and then the gray and the white. So this is similar, except for the dark teal, it has the bright green. I bought them on 2 separate occasions, but I love them both. They're really pretty. This one is Brediciulous hand-dyed yarn. The colorway is, you ready? Oh, look, Another Glorious Morning Makes Me Sick by Winifred. Winifred said that. I don't know what reference that it is. Please tell me. I have a feeling it's probably Hocus Pocus, but I'm not sure. So this has all the colors, every single one, all of them, orange, teal, pink, purples, fuchsia, orange, red, green, yellow. I mean, it has all of them. It even has, I mean, this is a really light, like lemony. There's a little bit of something there that could almost pass for white, but I'm not sure. This one is the Dream in Color. This is the one with the dark teal and purple. And then the Supernova with the green and purple. So vote below and we'll see what you all think, what I should do for the summer sock camp. Other than that, I don't have anything else to tell you this week. It's been kind of a slow week. My video is kind of getting to the point where it may not upload. So actually it won't save to my iPad. There's a storage issue. And this room in my house is super, super hot. So I'm going to let you go. Have a great week and I'll see you next time.